What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a GmiasWorld podcast. And what we're going to be discussing today is Richard Sherman going to the 49ers. Now, when we saw this happen, it kind of made sense that Richard Sherman would do this. It's obvious that, what was it, Super Bowl 49? Whichever Super Bowl that it was, that Pete Carroll or whichever idiot, Bevel, whoever was responsible for having Richard Sherman throw that football, I don't know. Listen, I'm still amazed that Pete Carroll is still the head coach of Seattle. I don't know what kind of arrangement he has. Maybe he has some kind of info on somebody in the organization, because that guy should have been fired. After the play happened, if I'm the owner, see, this is the thing about it. People think it's a joke, right? It's sort of like when Jerry Jones fired the other coach that was winning all the Super Bowls. And everybody was like, yo, how could you fire the guy? You know what I'm saying? The guy, he's out there handling his business. Whether it's a power struggle or the coach just completely screwed up, you have to take action. Now, in Jerry Jones' situation, there was no reason for him to do it other than he didn't like the fact that nobody was taking him seriously while, I forgot the dude's name, that was coaching at the time when they went, back to back or whatever. And it was a situation where Jerry Jones chose to do that to show people, look, I got the power. You know what I'm saying? In this situation with this whole Legion of Boom, it's the same situation. The owner has to make a decision, good, bad, or indifferent. Some guy that is a coordinator or the head coach, ultimately, that, he hears it in his headphones. He knows what the call is. I don't care what the situation is. If you have beast mode in your backfield, if you run the ball 4 times for 1 yard and you don't get it, you go to bed, you sleep, you wake up, everything is good. All right, you tried, it didn't work out. You don't pass the ball there. And after that happened, and then Tom Brady, who was the GOAT, came down, did what he had to do, dink and dunk all the way down the field, destroyed that defense, who most of them were playing injured already. And the staff already knew that. And that's what makes me disgusted with the Seattle Seahawks organization, because this really hurts their fan base. It hurts their legacy. It hurts all the players that put in all these blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. It's very, very, very bad if you're a fan of Seattle, knowing that, the actual team knew that, all these guys were injured. They were Earl Thomas, Chancellor, Sherman, they were all injured players. A lot of the linebackers, the D linemen, they were playing hurt to win this Super Bowl. And you have a chance to seal the game, and you pass the ball to a bum receiver. Lockett, to a bum. You see, if it was the #1 receiver, I could kind of understand it. Like if you're throwing that to Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, you know what I'm saying? Shannon Sharp, you're doing something that, all right, we could deal with that. Bro, you're throwing it to Ricardo Lockett, bro. The dude couldn't catch a cold butt naked in an ice storm, but that's who you're throwing the ball to. He's a speedster. That's all he was. Very, very horrible call. So now that we got out the way, right, let's think about this with Richard Sherman. Achilles injury, which is very, very, it's a very difficult injury to overcome. And I've been getting a lot of questions as far as what do I think Richard Sherman is going to add to the 49ers. I think he's going to be the same Richard Sherman that we saw in the past. Keep in mind, it's not about the whole speed aspect and stuff like that. He's not Deion Sanders. He's not any of that. What Richard Sherman is, he's a lockdown corner. He reads his side of the field, not only his receiver. His receiver is usually locked up, but he reads his side of the field, and he does what's needed to be done in order to help his team win. And that's the one thing that he's always done that I've visibly seen. He plays very angry, and he always plays with that chip on his shoulder. And when you look at Richard Sherman, a lot of people will look at him like, yeah, he just looks like a typical guy, dread, stuff like that. This is a very intelligent man that made it out of Compton. This is not a normal. It's when you grow up in an area where most of your people are, incarcerated, they're killed, things like that, and you make it out. Your mentality is not the same as an average individual or someone that had it. You have to change your complete mindset. And only people that have gone through that would understand what I'm trying to explain. When you grow up in these environments and you decide, because remember, it's always a decision. Whether it's an OG, whether it's somebody around the area that's like, yo, you got talent, stay away from this. Whoever it is that gives you that insight. Because all of us, if we're in need, we're going to make decisions that are not usually regular. So when you think about his mindset, when he's rehabbing right now, he's not just rehabbing to come out and play one season. He wants to make sure that the Seattle Seahawks never win another game. And this is the same man that was having issues with Russell Wilson, stuff like that was going on, and they were rumors, oh, it's not true, it's not true. It absolutely is true. It is true. And what's going to happen now with him being a 49er? It's beautiful because the NFC West, the ratings are going to be out of this world when they play. Because you got Jimmy Garoppolo signed to a huge deal. You got Sherman there. They're going to keep doing their rebuilding process. The 49ers, you never know what's going to happen now because, in my opinion, I think Garoppolo was made of the right stuff as well. Just based on the love that Bill Belichick was giving him, I think that he's something that's going to work out with the 49ers. And I think Richard Sherman has a good 2-3 years left in him. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people that think that his Achilles injury is going to completely ruin him. I think he's going to go out there and he's going to make unbelievable plays. As always, every cornerback gets burnt every now and burnt or dealt with accordingly every now and again. But I do believe we're going to see that Richard Sherman that we used to see and love to hate. Most of you guys love to hate him because he was so outspoken and he let you know what he was thinking. But his play backed it up, and that's what the interesting situation is about all of this. Okay, the Achilles injury is what really caused, well, that and a lot of attention. Plus, they got rid of Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett is now with the Eagles. Like, they're trying to dismantle the Legion of Boom because the anger and the hostility for this coaching staff is never going to go away. Going to the Super Bowl is such a huge feat. And they took that away from everyone by making arguably the worst call in NFL history. So it's something that always lingers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're in a relationship, you get cheated on, and you're like, yo, all right, I already know that, you know what I'm saying, he or her, he or she, whatever, that she out there doing something like, oh, it's been 2 minutes, she 2 minutes late? Yeah, she out there doing, your mind is not going to let go. And it's very, very difficult for you to ask these players that have gone through so much with this franchise. I don't think people realize that the Legion of Boom had the opportunity to be a dynasty. A lot of people just talk like, yeah, Super Bowl, whatever. I think it was 49, whatever it was. You guys know what I'm talking about. Whatever it was. Yeah, they lost it. Tom Brady's the GOAT. That completely rewrites history if they do and make the right call. If they just run the ball, Tom Brady right now has another loss on his record. That probably changes how fast what Bill Belichick is thinking and everything like that. It changes Malcolm Butler's situation. It changes everything. The only thing that's good about it that I really appreciated is that Malcolm Butler got a chance to make some money and he was otherwise unknown. That's like the feel-good story about it. But when you think about the hard work that these men put in, there's no excuse why Pete. Look, I don't know Pete Carroll. I have never met him. I never seen him. I don't know, like in person or anything like that. But I will tell you this right now: there was absolutely zero excuse for what his coaching staff did on that day. There was absolutely no explanation for what happened and why it happened. And the bottom line is it should not have happened. And this is what I have to explain to people and make sure that they thoroughly understand what I'm saying. When it comes to this situation right here, it was something that was never going to change. Richard Sherman was never going to get over it. Michael Bennett was never going to get over it. Cam Chancellor's never going to get over it. Earl Thomas is never going to get over it. You know why they're never going to get over it? Because nobody took accountability. Even though Pete Carroll said, yeah, I'm responsible. Bevel should have been fired back then. Before Marshawn Lynch's mom wrote that ridiculous thing about him and stuff like that, and then he had to have it deleted. Everybody knew the anger. Everybody knew what was going on. And they chose to keep these men in position to coach these guys. And that's a very dangerous situation when you have people that are around that are responsible for the loss that you took. And that's what people need to understand. It's not something that, you could just get over because that cost them their complete legacy. They would have been back-to-back. It would have changed everything that happened. And because of that, Richard Sherman had to do what he had to do in this situation. And, he told Pete Carroll a couple times, you better not run the ball. I mean, you better not pass the ball here and stuff like that. The outright and open disrespect that happened, that's not usual. But those are things that have happened because of that play. So all in all, I do expect him to step up his game and to make sure that he is something that, that goes on to be successful with the 49ers. I really want him to be successful, and I don't want to hate on the Seahawks, but I want them to feel what these men felt when they chose to pass the ball instead of run the ball. That's what I really want to happen, because it just makes sense that they'll be able to, feel the repercussions of what they created. They took away all this from the fans, and now Richard Sherman has a chance to really right the wrong. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoy it. You can download it on iTunes, Android, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. I'm going to see you guys and girls next time. Enjoy your day. One love.